we'll start that now anyway.
Okay.
And I'll mute myself now.
Okay. Let's make a start. All right. A powerful New Zealand film has been released in Australian cinemas this week, a film called Muru. And it's my great pleasure to be speaking to the writer-director of Muru, Tearepa Kahi. And hopefully soon we'll be joined by the Maori activist who features so prominently in the film, Tame. Tearepa, it's so nice to talk to you, and what a powerful film.
Oh, thank you very much, Peter. It's great to be here with you.
Now, the events of 2007 are quite incredible. The events related to the Tuhoe people, I think it is. Tell me about the context. Why were they so much regarded as being issues for the New Zealand government?
This is a great question. In 2007, little old New Zealand is still very much in the shadow of 9/11, I believe. And they felt compelled to put some skin in the game and use a very interesting set of lenses that basically said these people inside this valley are people that we cannot approach and ask any question of. We must determine our own outcome of their actions. And that's basically the thrust of the film is, with Tuhoe, they're the most welcoming people. They never lock their doors and the kettle's always on. So if you've got any question that you need to ask, you should always feel free to ask it. But our little government wanted to create headlines rather than have answers to misleading questions. So it led to a course of events that actually repeated. And that's the unfortunate thing here, is that 2007, 15th of October, was a repeat of 1916. And in many ways, this film, I hope, is a prevention from this course of action ever being taken again by our government against Tuhoe or any Maori community or any Indigenous community.
What an incredible story. And yes, let's hope that never recurs. So, Tearepa, tell me, what were the challenges that you faced in writing the screenplay and then making the film, so that you are pretty much retelling the events, but obviously with a fictional overlay?
Well, that was the biggest challenge, was letting go of my faithful chronologically sequenced script and succumbing to something that actually speaks to a more accurate cultural context. So getting away from the events of a single day to actually understanding how both raids informed each other and have informed the people of Tuhoe. So, but once I came to grips with what Auntie was actually telling me, in terms of the Auntie saying, is this about one day or is this about a bigger picture? Then when I understood what the bigger picture was and had a lot more cups of tea with everybody, there were no more challenges. It was just about execution and making sure that everybody was there for the right reasons. And we had a great cast that all came on board because they wanted to support Tame. We had a great crew that understood that we weren't going to shoot this film in a West Auckland warehouse, that we were going to shoot it on location where all these events took place. And then we're also answering a much bigger responsibility to sort of free ourselves of the chronology and really understand the bigger picture. So once we understood the bigger picture, it was executing the schedule. A very ambitious schedule for such an epic film inside a tiny little isolated and relationship-bound valley. So lots of good challenges for any filmmaker.
How interesting to hear that, and what a great story. And I suppose it was so important to have Tame involved, because having him recreate the part that he played in these events must have been really quite fascinating for him and for you.
Oh, absolutely. But how this all came about is, funding didn't create this film, relationships did. My father and my father-in-law both have personal relationships with Tame. Tame is someone I've known and have a relationship with, as well as a lot of other people who were in the cast. Cliff, Tame and I started the cup of tea sessions maybe 2.5, 3 years ago. And so we built it from there. In terms of Tame playing Tame, you know, there was a rumor going around in the valley that Cliff Curtis was going to play Tame. But of course, all of us knew that there's only one person in the world that can play Tame. And it was about supporting him where he could feel that his words were indeed his words, that these actions were things that he experienced and he knew, as well as having just as much support and for him to be as free as he can in terms of bringing it to full life.
Wow. And obviously recreating the period and the locations and all of that must have been also a bit of a challenge to keep it as accurate as possible.
You know, if Cliff was here, he would just be laughing his head off because the schedule was very, let's say the schedule was unattainable, but somehow we were able to get there because we were all in it together. And it did mean that our wonderful cast were under the pump in terms of being able to drive a bus on these roads with kaumatua, without tribal elders, as well as children going to the bus inside these twisting and turning gravel roads. But at the same time, that's what adds to the cinematic experience of it all. You know, when you sit down in the theatre, Tuhoe and what the audience will be presented with is a complete immersive experience. And we were never on a set. We were never on a production set. We were always in the backyards and the communities and verandas of this beautiful Tuhoe community. And that comes to life on the big screen. And that's what we're happiest about, really, is being able to share it with our wonderful Australian brothers and sisters from across the ditch and have them come into the valley.
Exactly. I've been to New Zealand a number of times, and I'm so impressed the way you shot it, because yes, it can be can be quite difficult.
It was almost run and gun, breakneck speeds, but we had a lot of harnessing and a lot of clarity.
And you've mentioned Cliff a number of times. I mean, you have a great cast, but Cliff Curtis is such a mainstay of New Zealand cinema and has been in a number of films. And I suppose putting your cast together is, including Tame, of course, is so important.
Absolutely. You know, and I said to Cliff, I made him a pitch that he couldn't refuse, because I said, you know, you're a police officer, but you're never going to be wearing a gun in a holster. You're going to be wearing a blue woolly jersey, and you'll be driving the school bus. And when he heard that, he goes, do I get to get my bus driver's license? And I said, you've got 3 weeks, go. Got 3 weeks, Cliff.
Now, would I be right in saying that Muru is Maori for forgive or forgiveness, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit too compressed and press kitty in terms of the full concept. But what it essentially means is, when something has gone wrong, how do we put it right? And Muru is the process that allows us to put something right. So in that context, it's very much about reaching a point of forgiveness and understanding.
Okay. Now, I just noticed an announcement that Muru has received the APSA Asia Pacific Screen Awards as Cultural Diversity Award for part of UNESCO. What a fantastic achievement.
It wasn't on the cards. It's not what we were playing for, but to have received that news and is incredible. And Tom is probably off right now trying to find a picture of the award. He's very happy. We're all very, very happy. It's it speaks to the values of the film and the filmmaking. So we're really proud of that.
It certainly does. And Muru is also the New Zealand submission to the Oscars for the international feature film category, which again is great kudos to you and the power of the film.
It is. It's very humbling because the New Zealand Select Committee is full of heavyweights. This isn't just some some thrown together group of people. There's a lot of brass and gold in that group. So to have received their vote of confidence is very humbling as well.
Now, I'm interested to know the reactions that you've had, both from New Zealand audiences and also in Toronto, where the film screened.
You know, I was in Busan a day and a half ago, you know, pulled out all the stops to get here in Brisbane today. I didn't imagine that it would have the resonance, you know, the resonance that it did through our screenings over in Busan. 3 generations of beautiful cinephiles and film lovers over in Busan. And it was the same experience that we had back here in Aotearoa, where the film ends, the credits goes up and everyone stays glued to their seats. So it was, you know, it was a real experience. And a similar thing happened in Toronto. So knowing that this distant Tuhoe Valley can speak and connect with these distant valleys has been, it's a real mark, I guess. Yeah.
I'm wondering too if the Tuhoe people have seen the film.
That was the first screening. That's the most important screening. And we had it in Whakatane. So basically 5 cinemas flooded with all of Tame's relations, and we watched it together. And it was a difficult, you know, it's the one that I cared the most about in terms of difficulty, but in terms of outpouring of endorsement and what it sparked back home for all of them, that they're all able to sort of share and speak about their experiences now as well, has been a beautiful release valve.
I was interested in the way you represented the government in all of this, and they obviously have issues to address in all of this. But I wonder how the current government, if anyone has seen it, including your Prime Minister, has responded to the film.
One thing, even beyond the government, is the police force. You know, and so what happened 2 weeks ago was our deputy police commissioner watched it with his wife, reached for his phone, rung Tame up and had a personal conversation with him where he let Tame know that he related to the character of Taffy, played by Cliff Curtis. And he and Tame are about to run a convention together with our New Zealand police force back home in November. So that's been, you know, that's been one of the unexpected but probably most satisfying outcomes of this.
That is excellent news, and amazing the power of film to, especially recreating such important events, to create change and awareness and positivity in the longer run. All great news. I must ask you, Tearepa, I know I've only got a few minutes, but I know that you did the film Mount Zion, which I was quite impressed with, and you also contributed to Hunt for the Wilder People. So your involvement with New Zealand cinema is quite strong. Do you must enjoy all the work that you do with the films that you're involved with?
Yep. No, I had great teachers. You know, I had great teachers, 2 teachers in particular, Mira Tamita and Don Salwan, both amazing filmmakers. So they poured a lot of time into me, being able to, I guess the important thing here is how we develop the Maori point of view in terms of storytelling. So my wife and my kids and all of us, you know, as much as I could with the directing of this film as well, you know, we directed this in Te Reo Māori, and our commitments to story are our commitments to culture, and being able to bring that to life is something that we're not taking for granted, but also something that we're trying to contribute to as with as much gusto as we can.
That is fantastic news. I mean, in Australia, we're trying to get Indigenous or First Nations films going and have more stories like that. So I get the feeling Maori culture is much more, how shall we say, an active part of New Zealand life rather than being separated out.
Yes, right. Understood. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
There are always more ways to contribute, and being able to do it through cinema is a powerful tool. Tame, his day job is as an activist and an artist, so he's able to do it in many, many ways every day as well. So coming together, all of us, it's been a powerful experience.
Yes. Are you working on another film at the moment?
I am, but I'm not going to tell you about it. But I hopefully will see you again, and it's not going to take too long, because Muru has really opened other people's eyes in terms of what we can achieve, and I look forward to partnerships that can help us to tell and bring more stories to screen life. Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Well, give my best to Tame. A shame he couldn't join the.
Very sorry about that. I lost him at the elevator.
A good name for a film. And we'll be speaking.
Great to speak to you. Thank you, Peter.
We've been speaking to Tearepa Kahi, who is the director of Muru, now screening in Australian cinemas. Thank you so much for talking with me.
Beautiful. Great. Enjoyed that.